Okay, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on this Volvo L20B wheel loader, and we're going to be putting this snow wing plow on here. If you're not familiar with these plows, this is a combination box, straight, back drag, every kind of position you can make with it. Sorry about my heater. So you can widen this thing up from 10-foot box like it is shown right now. I can make it a 15-foot straight blade that angles. In this particular case, this one has the live edge. It's not called live edge. Edge flex. Live edge is the metal plus version where the cutting edges actually go up and down and contour to the pavement. And then you can see the wings are bolted on the side, you know, the kicker plate on the bottom there, will just go up and down. So I'll be able to angle this plow left and right and then fold the wings out 180 degrees on each side. So what I want to cover today is how I'm doing the install to make this thing work, because it's not traditional and normal. And when I went onto YouTube to try to find videos of this, it was very difficult to find. So I wanted to put something together for other people that might be looking. So the reason we went with the snow wing is because the ability to swap it between machines was very important to me, because I got this Volvo Loader and then I got the Bobcat skid steers as well. And if one of them went down, I didn't want to be sitting there with my pants down in a bad situation. So with the metal plus, I looked at that as well. You only had the ability to do one or the other. I could do Bobcat or I could do Loader. I couldn't do both. This HLA allowed me to do both. So what we have on the top here, this is a Bobcat specialty box with the 7-pin. I have the harness. Here's the harness here, 7-pin that you're used to seeing with your Bobcat. So what this does is I have this 7-pin hooks up to here. It'll go up to my Bobcat. And then on the other side, I have the ports coming out. These two Deutsch connectors, which plug into these valve bodies down here. And that allows me to angle my wings. Right now it's set up, I have no wiring done on this thing whatsoever. I can still angle the box left and right, I just can't control the wings. So what this box does is allow me to control the wings from inside the cab. All right, so what I have to do to this Volvo is run wiring to it. And inside, you'll see my joystick with my third function here right in front of me, a little round top. So right now I can angle the plow back and forth, but I can't control the wings. So what I have to do is run this wiring harness. This is like an 8-pin or 14-pin, but it's not true 14-pin. It's something different that they've provided. So what I gotta do is run wiring up into the cab, right? I'm gonna do a joystick up in the cab over top of the auxiliary, and I gotta get power from the battery down below. Basically, on my third function, auxiliary, I'll have a push button on it for the left wing and for the right wing, and we'll make something work to where I can control one wing. I got my hoses routed through here. I'm probably gonna put some plastic covering or something on those to protect them a little bit. And those just hook up to my standard flat face skid steer coupler, which is what this loader has. On this side, it's got something different. So what I'm gonna do now is they provided some brackets, and this is the diagram. So you got your valve body with the controller. There's the connector there. There's the other side of the connector. So this is what they want you to do in the cab, is a toggle switch. With the center position, it's controls the angle of the entire plow. You flick it right and then move the joystick back and forth. You get your other function for your wing. You click it right now, and that'll control your right wing. Well, I got a joystick coming to not do that toggle switch. Not that I don't like the idea, but I think that the switch will be a lot better. So this is what they provided me. I think they wanted me to just kind of tape this to the third function, and I didn't like that. I thought that was kind of cheap and chintzy. I have a joystick supposed to be here in about an hour. We'll see how well that goes. And then this is the toggle switch. What I'm working on now is they provided this bracket for the plug. What I'm gonna do is mount that using these existing bolts in this bracket. I'm just gonna drill this thing out to make it fit. It's pretty close, but it's not quite there. So I'm gonna reutilize these, mount this harness inside here, and then run my wiring up to the cab, and that'll give me enough. So one thing that I didn't cover is there's another wiring harness here for this connector. So in the event of a changeover where I need to go from the Volvo Loader to the Bobcat, what I have to do is basically unplug these two Deutsch connectors underneath, swap out, put these ones in, put my 7-pin harness on that side, and it'll run. And then if I want to go back to Volvo, I unplug these connectors here, and I'll plug in that other harness that I just showed you into here, and it'll run on the Volvo Loader through this plug here. This connection here with the 7-pin is in that nice swirly. The only thing I could think of with that is I'd like to kind of keep it paired with the machine. So what I'm going to do is get another manual tube, like a 3-inch, a big fat one, mounted on that side, and the wiring will stay with the plow at all times. So if the loader goes down, we need to bring a machine up and swap it out, we easily can. As for these things kind of dangling around, I don't like these kind of just flopping around. So what I'm going to do is, I've already ordered them, get Deutsch caps that have little holes in them. I'm going to drill a hole in this and basically take it so you can just click it in on both sides. So they'll be kind of up and out of the way. Maybe I'll put them over here. I don't know. The connections, so they're not full of snow and ice. They're protected. They're not bouncing around. And I'm going to try to do something similar with this by putting some sort of cap over it, because it's not going to be used all the time. So that's what we got, and we'll get to the next series of this soon when I get working on this. Okay, so back on the loader project. I got delayed because their parts were delayed, so I ended up doing some other stuff. I ended up cutting this out. I'll put some pictures in here. This is all rotted out. I just put a whole new piece in there, custom fabbed it. Looks pretty good. I got the putty filler on there right now. I'm working on getting that finished up. But in the meantime, my joystick finally showed up, so that's what it looks like from the top. It's got some shims on the back side of it, so I can kind of make it fit the joystick I had. And you can see the left and right button on it. That's going to be the farther away joystick there. In the meantime, I got this all, well, this is kind of where we left off. It was like this. Got the hoses ran. I'm going to clean up this wiring a little bit. This is a little sloppy on here. They just kind of zip tied it together. So I'm going to clean this up a little bit. I got that mounted up here using the existing bolts on both sides, putting the bracket on there, ran all the wiring up on the hoses, back down. It comes underneath here, and you probably can't really see in there that well, but there's a big opening right here that goes up into this valve body controller. It's also where my fuse panel is, and conveniently enough, the joystick's right up there. So you got the joystick coming down. There's a little gray wire. I'm going to clean this boot up. It doesn't look bad, but it just looks a little kind of kinked. So that gray wire comes down. You can see it pop through there. There's nothing moving. Those just go up and down, so there's nothing going to be hitting there. Gray wire comes down to this Deutsch connector, which unfortunately I have to remove because I don't have the other end of this. I'm going to start getting them though, because they're very nice. And I had to tag power off of something, so I got power here. You can see my little red and black wire right there. Power off this point, ground off that point right there. And then this is the harness that's coming up the arm. Right here, I got this connector. These are my Amazon connectors I had laying around, so I'm gonna connect it like that. So I went through and just kind of hooked stuff up and used my power probe, wherever it went, to test it. So it does work. And I had to figure out power and ground on this. If you're wondering, you might be, when I hooked it up, I got power ground up here, and then I did function testing here. Top left pin is power, bottom left is ground, top right is ground, bottom right is power. So I got those, if that makes any more sense there. I got them zip tied. The orange is my right power, and the white is my left power, and the other two are grounds. So I'm gonna hook those together and make that work. Oh, here it is right here. Here's the other end of that connector there. So I'm gonna plug that together. I'm gonna remove this connector. I'm gonna have my black on ground. So both my grounds are gonna get hooked to this. And then I just gotta match the red to red and blue to blue with their function, which I have right here. So my green will be my orange, and brown is pink, and I did write that down somewhere. Green is the right side, brown is the left. So I just got to match that up with the correct pin between the two. And it does work. I did try it out. And you know, one thing for me I wanted to make sure is that when I hit the button and push the joystick forward, that when I controlled the wing, that the wing in fact went forward and not backwards. It wasn't like a reverse function. So that was pretty important to me, and that ended up working out all right. So we got that. And then I got a few other things to wrap up on this thing. Not really relevant to the HLA, but the headliner's falling off. I had to put a new diesel fuel heater in it. You can see the new little controller right there for it. It's missing right now. You ever seen these things? These diesel fuel heaters are pretty impressive. They put out a lot of heat. So it actually burns off a diesel fuel. It burns 0.03 gallons an hour. So it's got a fuel line coming off our filter. It runs over here to a pump. Little tiny fuel pump runs up. See the clear line, and that stuff all comes up into here, and this is where the heater goes. That goes into the cabin, which I had to put my cover back on. That's the recirculation, and then this is where it comes into the cab. Hot air comes into here, so it heats up pretty fast. It's pretty efficient. So between that and this and the headliner, I've almost got 2 days into this, which seems to be about every year. It's the same thing with this loader. 2 years or 2 days worth of work to get it going for the winter. So that's what we got, and we'll test some functions on it soon. Okay, now for the moment of truth. Let's see how well this is going to work with one hand. Well, that ain't right. Something's not working here. Okay, so you saw it wasn't working in the last one. What I found out was this black wire had depinned itself, so it didn't have a ground. Now, well, it seems like it's in there now. It must have just unclipped or something. But it's working now. I can tuck this back up. I was getting nervous there. Because every time I hook these up and then I shrink them right away, just trying to get done with it, something always fails. But just a pin. Depinned, so we should be good now. Yeah, that's staying in there. All right, perfect. Okay, well, first day with this HLA that I'm filming. It's February 29th. It's a leap year. And this is the first time I've actually had the opportunity to film what this plow will do. We haven't had much snow. When we did, I was not in town. So, we're gonna go through and give her a shot, see how she does. So, let's get to work. Got a big parking lot to do. So far, so good with the HLA. I'm pretty happy. This thing, watch this. I'll sneak right in front of this car, right around. But even getting into corners like this with this articulation, I can scrape a nice square line. Look at this. I was never able to do that with the regular pusher. Trim that all out in one nice shot. This thing is pretty impressive when it comes to trimming out the parking lots and just carrying snow. It's definitely significantly heavier, and it's further out in front of us. I can't really push as much in one big push as I used to, but in terms of what we're doing, you can see like the blacktop is bleeding through the snow. So there isn't really a lot right now, but it's taken properties that used to take me a good 15 minutes for a small parking lot, but this place used to be half an hour. Now I'm doing it in 15 minutes with this thing, and I'm doing a way better job. So I can just zip around and plow everything into a row, what you'll see here in a second, and just carry it away. Get around every car. There, you can see I snuck into these parking spots here right in front of me. I wasn't able to do that before. I'd have to go through and back drag each individual spot out to here. Now I can just go in an angle and scrape it down real nice. So I'm getting the feel of this thing. It's a little bit of a learning curve, but and you can only do one function at a time. Overall, it's been pretty good. I'm really liking it. It certainly has sped up production. It scrapes so well, follows the pavement, oscillates, it moves. Which I've never did before. Trip edge. This thing's a very nice snowplow for sure. I like the Arctic as well. We've done some pretty significant snow equipment upgrades for the last couple of years. Last year we got the Arctic, just a regular pusher box. That thing was pretty nice. It's easy to operate. No hydraulics, just plain Jane. It does what you need it to. Easy for operators to learn. Pretty efficient too. But this thing, in terms of containment, I think this thing takes the cake. And width. Obviously it's 15 feet wide right now. I can plow 2 parking spots that are empty in no time. So those couple of things, it totally makes a lot of sense. I like this. This is working out pretty well. Being able to do 15 feet. Just maximize my push, and being able to windrow is pretty big now with the new property we got. I just end up driving in a big circle, windrowing it, and then I'll just make a big pile and push the pile when I'm done. I can scoot it out of parking spots in between signs, all that kind of stuff. Get an audience out here watching. I'll be generous. Typically won't do this because they're supposed to move their cars by 9 o'clock. I think it's 8:56. They're not gonna move their cars. I think it's gonna melt off anyway. They're supposed to move everything by 9 o'clock. They never do. Jeez. This thing likes to catch manhole cover. scoot over them one way, it doesn't catch, and I scoot over them the other way, it catches. This has got the flex edge on it, edge flex, which is pretty handy. Scrapes down really nice. It's not taking off the hard pack, but if it's not driven over, it's taking it down to blacktop. Right now the sun's out, so it's all just melting off.